The opportunity to speak to. You know, this is a proverbial choir. You ever heard about preaching to the choir? This is the choir. And so I don't want to spend a lot of time spinning you about choir stuff. I want to talk, I think, listen from you and answer your questions. But I do want to talk briefly about something we talked about earlier tonight, just a few moments ago with a few of you, and that is the moments that we're living as Americans. First of all, any objective study of history, any objective study of mankind and humanity will lead you to one conclusion. And that is that there has never been a people like the American people. And there's never been a nation like the American nation. Now, I know I'm supposed to say that because I'm a politician. I have my lapel sticker, my lapel flag. And that's what every politician that speaks is supposed to tell you. But it is the absolute truth. It is an essential truth that I think too many Americans, particularly of my generation, have taken for granted. And that is how unique and special America is, not just in the world today, but in the history of the world. It is the only society in human history, for example, where much of your life is not determined the day that you were born. In most nations on earth, I would venture to say almost every country on earth, even today, even now, the day you are born, almost everything that will happen to you is decided on that day. What family were you born into? What neighborhood do you live in? What job does your dad or mom have? Those are the things that decide how far you can go. In America, that's never been the case. It's one of the few places on earth, if not the only, where time and time again, on a daily basis, in rooms just like this, every single one of you, is a nation made up of people who have been able to overcome the circumstances of their birth. And so maybe your parents were from a poor working class family, but today you are a sole practitioner or a businessman or a successful entrepreneur. Because in America, unlike many places on earth, that is possible. Why is that possible? Is it because we're smarter than everybody else? Is it because God loves us more than He does the rest of the world? That's not the case. The reason why it's possible is because 223 years ago, there was a decision made. And that decision is that first of all, the Declaration of Independence that clearly stated that every single person has rights that come from their Creator. Not from the king, not from the government, not from any sovereign. That basically every single human being born in this nation and outside of it have certain unalienable rights that come from their Creator. And that declaration went further and said that we're going to have a government in this country. And the purpose of that government is going to be to protect that God-given right. And the only power that government will have is the power that you, the individual with these God-given rights, allow that government to have. And from that essential belief arose not just the Constitution, but a system of government and a role of government in our economy that ushered in the greatest era of prosperity that mankind has ever known. Now today in America, we are facing questions about this. And it's happened oftentimes, every generation of American has had to reaffirm this promise and these truths. But none has faced a radical leadership as you and I are facing today. I say this to you without exaggeration. I don't like to say this. I don't go around bragging about this. It's not something that I want to say to you. Because by and large, I believe that most Americans love their country. And ours is a debate about how best to improve our country. But I believe that today in Washington, this nation is in the grips of the most radical leadership in modern times. Never has the essence of our greatness been under attack more than it is today, by individuals who have taken advantage of difficult times in America to use it as an opportunity to redefine the role of government in our economy and in our lives. And never before has the American people needed stronger voices in Washington, D.C., who will not just oppose these moves, but offer clear contrast and clear alternatives to the direction that some would take our country. I say this to you because all across the political spectrum today, you have people that time and time again believe that politics is about the process of politics. The purpose of running for office is to get there so you can cut deals and cut the baby in half time and time again to make politics happen. But there are some principles that cannot be negotiated because they go to the essence of what our nation is all about. They go to the essence of our greatness. And one of those principles is what is the rightful role of government in our society and in our economy. And the fact is that we chose a limited form of government in America. We chose to have government not involved in picking the winners and losers in our economy. And that's why this is the only country in the world where a poor person can put a billionaire out of business. This is the only country in the world where you can start a business in the garage of your home. This is the only country in the world where you can draw a business plan on the back of a cocktail napkin and take out your life savings and open that company and make it work. This is the only place in the world where that is possible. Because unlike those nations that pick the winners and losers, The same families don't control our economy decade after decade. In America, we have something called the S&P 500. It's the 500 largest stocks on Wall Street. Do you know that of the original 500, only 70 are left on that list? The other 430 were replaced by new companies. People with a hard work and a better idea who put a stale company out of business. Remember when Blockbuster Video, I'm sorry if you own shares in Blockbuster, remember when they dominated the marketplace? This weekend I read that all the video companies are going out of business because some guy or gal invented vending machines where you can get dollar movies. That's the greatness of America. That's possible here. In most countries on earth where the government picks the winners and losers, they would have passed laws a long time ago that would have made it impossible for you to open a vending machine that sells a movie. And yet that's what's in question today. And there are people that time and time again throughout human history have used downturns in the economy, downturns in the lives of their citizens as an excuse to come to you and say the only way that we can guarantee the future is if you surrender some of your liberties. Give your liberties to us and we will provide you with security. It is a false promise. It is a false promise that has been offered to people all over the world, and every society that has bought into that promise has paid an extraordinary price. And now we're being asked the same fundamental question. Are we prepared to surrender some of our liberties and freedoms in exchange for the false promise of security? And the answer is that our security has never come from our government. Our security has come from our willingness to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to work. Our security has come from the willingness to work 6, 7, 8 days a week if necessary to make your family get ahead in life. The source of our security and our prosperity has been the power of the individual through the God-given rights that are announced and protected in our Constitution and our Declaration.